Not bad. I mean, we didn't get anything in scrimmage. And we've had a couple guys that kind of got some minor things. Robert McCray's got turf toe. It's been casted, just immobilized, so he's been limited for a while. The line's good. I think Robert's on defense. Willis has come off a shoulder injury, so he doesn't do contact. Jay Sean has come off of injury, doesn't do contact. Andre Brown's come off a shoulder injury, doesn't do contact. They're all practicing. Camion Patrick's hurt a knee and is out right now. I don't know how long that'll be. But anyway, we're doing all right.
How do you feel like you did in the scrimmage?
It was good. I mean, the defense started very, very well. I would have told you if I was judging defense one, Coach Allen didn't think they created the turnovers they needed, gave up a few plays at the end, didn't finish good, so he wanted to not name the defense. You know, we try to have, who wins per day, and sometimes it's a subjective feeling, and you're trying to be fair, and you're not trying to go back and forth and give an award to everybody so it's 50-50. I would have told you I was very pleased with the defense. Offense did finish well. It was a windy day, tough day, and we're still trying to force the quarterbacks throwing, so we didn't just say, okay, we're going into the wind. We threw it a lot, so it was kind of tough sledding. But I thought it was good. It was good both ways. Again, I thought today there's some good both ways. A lot to clean up, but we're putting a lot of situations. I really like the way the teams practice. There's a lot of confidence that I think as coaches we get from how the guys are working. And so spring ball, a lot of work to do, but I think there's a lot of good things that we can keep building on.
What is your quarterback situation right now, Kevin?
The last couple of days, Austin King's actually looked nice and really did in the scrimmage too. He and Richard Lego in between plays don't know what they're doing. So when you say hike and the ball's in their hand, run around, that makes some plays. Danny's so much better in between plays, command presence, getting lined up, what to call, because he's just done it more. So when in between plays and you're thinking a lot, sometimes Austin and Richard can get a little bit out of sorts, and that's why today we did that segment moving the ball around, because in practice sometimes you just run plays. And the other day in scrimmage, the first time we really moved it from place to place to place to place to place, we seemed out of sorts. And sometimes that's the quarterback. And at the same time, he's thinking about what his job is. So those guys have a lot on their plate, but been encouraged both. Again, those two guys' skill set are very encouraging. Danny still's been pretty consistent. We tried to rotate them all through today, not to be even. They all got reps. They all handled it good. And they all got a lot of work to do. So if they keep doing like we're doing, we'll be fine. But I don't know if anyone's good enough yet. But I like the way all three of them, I thought Austin was a little lackluster and didn't challenge him or whatever, just didn't give him a lot of work one day. But since then, he's had a little bit greater sense of urgency. So just getting those guys up to speed. Well, I want them all to get better. I think it would be nice to have, quote, the starter. I don't have a timeline of when it has to be. But I do think we need more than the starter. We can win with, because again, almost every year there's a situation where maybe a guy can't go for a game or two or longer than that. So we need 2 or 3. It's hard to give equal reps, get them all developed, all time on task, all the plays you want. But again, I am encouraged by what I've seen from all 3, and especially the 2 young guys have talent. They just need time to keep coming. At the same time, Danny, Xander's out with the injury. So right now it gives the reps to those 3 guys, and Danny has managed his situation well, and the young guys with a lot of talent are learning and gaining every day on him. So it's encouraging.
Luke Timian was another one of those walk-ons who seemed to make the most of his opportunities down the stretch last year. Did you see him factoring in at some point this year in his second year?
Yeah, well, he had a couple touchdowns at the end of last year, I think, or he had a big play at
Maryland.
Maryland was a touchdown in the bowl. I mean, there's a number of those guys. You sit there looking at our football team, and Mitchell Page is, right now in our receiving core, you got Mitchell and we got Ricky Brookins and A-Rod playing running back and moving around. Luke Timian, Ryan Watercutter. We lost a couple with Casara. Watercutter's a nice tight end. So offensively, that walk-on course has been very, very good for us. Defensively, Ben Box, a very significant contributor. And then our kicker is as good as there is in the league. Our snapper, Gotzel, did a nice job last year. So there's about 7, 8 guys, and as our team's gotten better, we've actually added a few. We don't publicize, but I think we've gotten word, and again, these walk-ons can change their mind, but I think we're adding not only a good class, but more good walk-ons. And as we build the team, myself being a former walk-on at your state school, we'd love to keep those guys coming. I do see Luke definitely in the rotation, and how far, how much, he's just going to be one of those guys playing. It will be interesting when the freshmen show up. because when those freshman receivers and tight ends and running backs, they'll really enhance the offensive skill. But right now, he's not playing by default. He's a good player for us. He's doing well.
You talked about Brandon Knight last week. Just kind of where do you see your left tackle spot right now?
Again, I think he's doing well. In some ways, I think he's got to stay healthy, and he's played some last year and played really well. But I think he's farther along than probably where Feeney and Spriggs was as a young guy. I mean, he's a good football player. He's turned, got to get stronger, mid 280s and bigger. We got to keep him healthy, but he's very athletic. He's very tough. Likes to play. He's a very coachable kid that I think in time, if he stays healthy and continues to develop, he'll have a good year, and he's on track to have a strong career.
Has he kind of laid command of that position, more or less, just sort of made it his at this point?
Yes. The only reason it wouldn't be, well, I'd love for someone to beat him out, because again, that means Timmy and DeAndre Love and Delroy Baker coming along. But there is a chance, based on tight end situation, if we needed to, you could play him as a big body tight end and go with 3 tackles in the game. And that's kind of what we were doing last year when it was Camille and Spriggs. And you say we don't throw that guy, but when you're a running team, you still have to structurally line up to stop the run. And so you can say, well, that guy's never running a pass, but you better put a guy over there, because here comes some good running backs. And I do think I've had several guys watch practice and said, you lost a couple good linemen, but your line looks as good. So I think the line has a chance to continue to be consistent. Greg and James Patton, that complements them. They do a very, very good job. Be interested to see you get a kid like Coy Crunk in here, because Coy's a little bit like Spriggs, and he's a little bit like Jason. So, sometimes big bodies are what play in the Big Ten. And I think Brandon Knight will be our left tackle, but I also think he's athletic enough that if we need some big boy sets, that we can move him. And then you get Timmy Gardner and Dimitri Camille, and you just put some bigger people in. There's a time and place, short yardage, goal line, killing the clock, where sometimes those big people are good for you, and we need that. But Brandon's doing really good. I like him.
Far enough along in the spring now, are there any guys that have surfaced that kind of surprised you a little bit? Any names come to mind there?
No, to me, the surprise, I said so a week kind of indirectly or something, there's some guys, I guess, doing okay, but some of these guys have played. We do have a lot of guys back. We did, again, I think redshirted some decent guys. So I'm not individually surprised. I'm surprised with the consistent energy and the way these guys come out there. And today, it's a week before the spring game. You're really not playing. I just like the way the energy, the way they approach it, the way they're kind of going at it. And I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I'm pleased with that, and I'm encouraged with that, because I think this is where times of year where your toughness and your intensity can level off. And last night, watching the championship game, you could tell for months and years the way that Villanova played. They had a nice, without being overly physical, a nice toughness about their team, and the way they held their ground and fought, made so many competitive plays. And I used that with our team today. You could just tell over time that was a mindset. And as our team's gotten more talented and we've gotten a little bit more competitive, we want to keep working on that mindset of a winning mindset and a competitive mindset, and moving to being a team that can and play for upper level ball in our Big Ten East and fight for a championship here.
Do you see that mindset coming off of the bowl game? Does that just change a little bit of the mindset coming into spring football?
I don't know if the bowl, as much as we weren't in the moral victories, but again, I thought last year a lot of those games, and for several years, we've got a lot of evidence of playing a lot of good football against a lot of good teams, and sometimes we're inconsistent, we're not strong enough and good enough to get over the hump and get the victory, but we got a lot of evidence that our kids compete and are good enough. And I just think as we are getting stronger, and it's sometimes not bench press stronger, but it's strength in numbers, it's strength in time on task, and you keep chipping up good people in good days, and you keep adding good things. So I just think over time, as we've went from a team getting better to a team being competitive. It's now what we hope a team that can be a little bit more of a strong winning team.
Do you see the benefit of having those bowl practices in spring now, having paid off with having that extra work?
Well, it didn't hurt. I also says too, we didn't try to kill them in the bowl practice. At the same time, we've done a lot throughout the years where kids kind of keep their skill up, their player practice part. The tough thing is right now we're trying to get a little tougher through spring ball. But when you pop your pads, you're no different than a boxer. And when you pop those pads and you go through May, June, and July without hitting, you got to come back and train to get back into the ring. and to get your body ready to be a physical player. So even though you can hit as much as you want, our game is like in spurts where you're on and off with the segments of the year, and we're working hard to be more consistent and a more tougher team now. But we're going to always have to recreate that. So the bowl thing helped us, but you go through the lifting, and we had a great winter, and it's tough. But now you got to put the pads on hit. That's a different type of toughness, and you're constantly going back and forth gaining that. So the bowl didn't hurt, but I think last year and the last couple years in general, we've just recruited better, developed better, and our kids are excited, like what they're doing.
How's the secondary been playing? A lot of guys back there. Yeah, that's the great in the West.
You know, it's. I think they're doing a great job. Coach Allen, through Coach Shelby and Coach Joseph now of getting what they want to do. And once in a while, they're going to be out there where, you know, you're one-on-one, you give up play. So when the left guard combos the wrong guy and the backer makes the tackle, everybody says, well, that's a great play by the backer. When the DB gets beat, everybody says, wow, that was a bad play by the DB. They're both bad plays. Just you know, when Coach Stoops just tell the time, hey, when you're on offense, you screw up, you punt. We're on defense, screw up, they score, and everybody boos, and they know who got beat. You know what I mean? So it's just a different stress level. I see them making more plays. At the same time, I see them where they got to keep coming along. The other day in the scrimmage, I was so mad every time because it was one-on-one. I wanted the offensive player to make the play, and when he didn't, I was mad at the offensive guy. And when the offensive guy made the play, I was mad at the defensive guy because the game is one-on-one plays. And we got to keep that group coming so when they get one-on-one, they win as many one-on-one matchups. And sometimes that's just getting the guy on the ground. That's not necessarily an interception or a pass breakup. But the ball's going to get in the perimeter in this league. There's going to be great receivers and quarterbacks. Even though a lot of guys are replacing dudes, the game is played a lot of times in the line of scrimmage. And then once it pops, it's one-on-one. And we need that secondary to keep coming along. So I like it. They're going with good receivers every day. We're trying to be smart and not do a bunch of cheap tackling, but they're more physical, they're stronger, and they're making good gains. Anything else?
How about punting? Is that a competition right now? You got one guy ahead of the other?
The only thing I can say on punting, well, I don't know, is we have changed where in our practice segment we're actually doing that like full go with a great, like we've got Ricky Jones, Divine Redding, Simi Cobbs, as good as we got that aren't on the punt team, rushing it full go. And we're really trying to stress the punt team out because I just went through and showed them games where for several years there's been a lot of critical punt plays that could be better. And it impacted the game. A punt block at Ohio State in 2012, punt return in 2014 against the same team. You know, a punt block, I mean, you go through last year, the opening game, we have a punt block for a score, and you're in a one-possession game. And so we're putting a lot of stress on our punt team more than punter. So every day our punter's punting, he's got 10 guys that are up, and it's like an abort the mission. Everybody's coming to block it. We're doing it more for protection, but the punter feels that. And Gideon's got the best leg, but because he hasn't played, he can be very inconsistent. And so we'll keep working on it.
Indiana hasn't had a first-round draft pick in a long time. If Jason Spriggs is a first-round pick, would that add some juice or validity to what's going on here?
Well, it wouldn't, and it's not going to hurt. I mean, again, at the same time, he can be really good and go later. He can get drafted high and not pan out. But again, it's it was just obvious the other day watching those 10 guys. You look at Zach Shaw, who probably helped himself, and Jake Reed having a chance. And as I went through, and I knew Nate. Hey, we know Nate Sudfeld's a good player. We knew Spriggs was a good player, and there were other good players. But Shaws and Reeds and Rayners were quality players. So they all had good pro days. Hopefully they'll get some opportunities. I think we went from nobody at the combine for a couple of years to 1 to 2 to 4. Nobody drafted to a couple guys early out. Best thing is Jason stayed in. It would be great for Jason because he could have went out last year. Probably been a 3rd or 4th rounder. It'd be great for him to stay in and maybe get rewarded because I think that would validate the kids that stay in school, and maturing is the best way to make it. And again, proud of him, excited for him. We don't have Dan Feeney's banner up there, but that would actually be 3 guys, and you got Antoine Randall L, and before that you got like a 20-year swing. So you got 3 years in a row some guys making first-team All-America. It's just a sign of advancement. So doesn't mean he's a worse player, worse team if he doesn't make it, but we'll be very, very proud, and it's a credit to him and his family and the work he's done.